The babysitter who wants to clap his back. The film kicks off with a previously on moment rewinding to the end of the first film, where our hero Cole survives his babysitter from hell. Experience cuts a Cole in the kitchen, chugging milk like it's going out of style, but wait, the milk turns into spaghetti juice, and he collapses in horror. But psych, it was just a nightmare, so he calls a junior in high school now and is still haunted by that satanic slumber party. No one believes his story, and the school nurse's sage advice is for Cole to find a girlfriend and get his clapping on, because you know that solves everything. Then there's Mel, Cole's neighbor and longtime crush, who can't be bothered to validate his trauma. Instead, she's all like, "Hey, remember when we kissed in the first movie from Good Times?" But Mel's dating Jimmy, not Cole, cucked again. Enter Phoebe, the mysterious new transfer student. She's got a bad case of baby fever and isn't afraid to let everyone know Cole's parents. Meanwhile, they are convinced their son has gone cuckoo for Cocoa Buffs and plan a sneaky mental hospital intervention for the awkward family. Video call where Mel spots Cole's lotion for his dry elbows, of course, right before his dad busts in and jumps to conclusions. Cole learns about his impending trip to the loony bin and shares the news with Mel. She's like, "She's come to this light party with me, and you won't have to go." Mel reassures the cold, and everyone at school is popping psychoactive pills like Andy. Then Phoebe finds a suspiciously cute stuffed rabbit and notes in her locker a drama alert. Cole's parents show up at school, and he's faced with a decision: the Matrix red pill party with Mel or the blue pill mental hospital. Cole chooses the party-hardy path, hopping into Mel's dad's stolen car with her friends back at Mel's house. Cole's dad and Juan, Mel's dad, bond over PlayStation while the police search for the runaway kids. Little do they know the party crews, well, on their way to the lake, they pit stop at a gas station run by Amanda Cerny, who dishes out some not-so-subtle advice to Cole. Better stock up on some protection. Extra large-size Romeo. Later, Cole and the gang arrive at this party that's so lit that even Phoebe, the new girl, is there out of nowhere. She pulls a Bond girl move and jet skis into the horizon. Mel, the queen bee of the party, gestures to Cole, inviting him to join her Yad Bay shenanigans. Cole, looking like he's considering a root canal instead, eventually decides to be brave, tosses his meds into the wind, and sets sail back at home base. Some guy in his suit shows up at Wad's, asking for some candid shots of Cole and Mel. Meanwhile, our intrepid hero and his new buddies are elbow deep in a board game, somewhere between rolling dice and moving plastic paces. Cole and Mel sneak off for some closet-based canoodling. Cole's as jumpy as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, but Mel steers the ship just when things were getting good. Diego and Jimmy start roasting Cole about his running with the satanic called Mel, who is now playing innocent, pretends she knows nothing about this devil's book hole. Supposedly obsessed with the plot thickens when Mel, apparently auditioning for a /reflect, casually slips. The goth girl's throat yikes. Turns out Mel's neck is deep in the same cold that B was the evil babysitter from the last movie, and Jimmy and Diego are her wingmen. Unlike B, Mel looks like she just won the lottery with the prospect of off in cold to complete the ritual. Fast forward a bit, and Cole's staring down the familiar faces from his cultist past: Max, who's forgotten what a shirt is; Alice and Sonia, who is inexplicably armed with cookies; and John, who is John. Phoebe zooms in desperate for gas for her jet ski and then zooms out, probably regretting crashing this particularly weird reunion. Cole tries to stop Allison with a hook that misses by a mile and then makes a break for it. After a slapstick moment involving a jet ski and a close call with his spear, Cole and Phoebe make their grand escape. They pull in, and Cole spills the beans about the cult. Phoebe, taking it all in stride, seems to believe him. Mel, playing detective, follows a gasoline breadcrumb trail and blows their craft sky high. Phoebe, having zero desire to be stuck between Cole and his cult's axes, decides to venture solo, ignoring Cole's pleas to not split up later. Phoebe stumbles upon a banjo-playing dude named Leroy. He invites her to hang out by the fire, waiting for his wife's plot twist. Luro is a crib, but her boy Cole swoops in just in time, distracting Leroy by passionately discussing his favorite snack. He then pulls a Home Alone maneuver, tripping Leroy with his shoelaces and whisking Phoebe away. They hijack Leroy's car, but before they can hightail it out of there, Sonia shows up, ruling a flamethrower like she's auditioning for a Mad Max sequel. She torches Leroy, then tries to set the car ablaze, but Cole, turning the tables, runs her over once, twice, 3 times, a lady. Then, for the grand finale, he smashes her into a rock where it conveniently plays surfboard and decapitates her. Talk about a gnarly wipeout after Leroy's car got wedged on a rock tighter than Amanda Cerny. Our dynamic duo Cole and Phoebe decide to test how their amateur hide-and-seek skills under the car just when you think things couldn't get worse. A snake slithers by giving Cole a front row ticket to a horror show. He nearly has a hysterical breakdown but manages to keep his screams to himself. However, their hideout doesn't exactly come with soundproof walls, and their noise alerts Mel and her motley crew. Mel effort, a delegator sends her henchmen to investigate, but plot twist, the snake goes all Indiana Jones on the boys, and they sprint away faster than an unpaid internship. After the coast is clear, Cole and Phoebe decide to take a little scenic run to a nearby cabin. Phoebe, appreciative of Cole's rescue, throws him a thank you for saving her from the literal bonfire man. I guess you could say he extinguished her fears and comes. Allison, our trigger-happy antagonist, she spots them and immediately goes for the chase. Along the way, a bunny crosses their path, and in true Elmer Fudd fashion, she shoots it. A deer follows suit, and it too becomes a victim of Allison's nature of her shooting spray. At some point, one of her bullets ricochets off her chest plate, throwing her off balance. Cole and Phoebe meant to escape, and Allison, determined to keep up, slips into a small canyon. Cole and Phoebe, taking advantage of this physics faux pas, pull her down, resulting in a rather gruesome game of heads-off, and as if to add insult to injury, a boulder doesn't surprise a cameo on Allison's headless body just when things start looking up shirtless. Max, the guy with the fashion sense of a 90s boy band member, jumps in with an axe. Luckily, Cole uses Allison's detached limbs to fend him off and talk about recycling in a moment of forgetfulness. Phoebe realizes she's left her backpack, and the duo returns to retrieve it. Phoebe, in a surprising twist, deflects Max's attack with her axe and is a final bite to Felicia. She kicks him where the sun doesn't shine. Next thing we know, our heroes are on a boat called Jenny, owned by a big guy who unfortunately gets backstabbed by Max. A vignette then reveals Max's rather tragic origins as an underpaid, overworked fast food employee recruited by B to assassinate Cole. It's a real Mick tragedy. However, Cole and Phoebe aren't out of the woods yet. Literally, they reach a secluded cabin, which Phoebe unlocks with the key from her locker because apparently this is a scavenger hunt. Now their plan is to wait out the night in the cabin's basement, a classic horror movie move. Meanwhile, Mel and John have located the cabin and decided to chill till morning, and as we leave our heroes in the cabin, we can only wonder, will they make it till morning or will this turn into another episode of Cabin in the Woods? Only time will tell, so one enclosed out a road tripping into the cabin while inside. Phoebe's got this antique cassette player I know right loaded with Sugar Hill Gang goodness as Apache blasts out Colin. Phoebe lock lips and boogie down into a dreamy dance sequence, while our wannabe bad guys are busting moves that make your dad's dancing look cool. This all goes down in lieu of a clapping scene. Gotta keep it family friendly anyway, after what feels like forever. Cole's dad and Juan rock up at the lake. Mel's chilling outside Phoebe's cabin, playing third wheel as the boys head inside. Phoebe then spills the tea about her tragic past. She accidentally clapped her parents' yikes at the tender age of 6. She left her stuffed bunny on a beach near the cabin on the way back to retrieve it with her babysitter. They collided with her parents' cars, bunny in tow, and sent everyone, but Phoebe was off a cliff, major cliff. She's been blaming herself ever since because, well, rip, Mr. and Mrs. Bunny. Of course, Cole's dad barges in, but Phoebe's all waiting. This could be a trap. They crack open her dead dad's hunting gear using a code from a locker. After failing to shoot John, our boy Cole accidentally sets off a Rube Goldberg-esque chain of events, leaving John with a head full of chandelier horns. Mel walks up, accusing Cole's dad of losing his marbles, chucks a machete the adder, which she snatches midair like a boss, and the duo makes a run for it. Mel goes after them, but her dad's like, whoa, slow down, missy. That doesn't stop her, though she straight up hacks off her dad's arm and finishes him off with a jab to the gut. Cole tells Phoebe to skedaddle while he tries to reason with his ad, but his dad's not buying it and tranks him. Mel catches up with Phoebe, leading to a sick Mortal Kombat-style showdown. Phoebe wins but ends up tied to a pole in some creepy ritual site, while Cole comes to at a gas station, locks his dad out of the car, and declares his love for Phoebe before peeling out to rescue her as dawn breaks. Cole arrives at the beach, offering up his blood to save Phoebe, but plot twists enter this special guest B. Phoebe's jaw drops because, get this, B was her babysitter too, the one driving the car during that fateful bunny-related accident. Talking about a blast from the past, Phoebe thought she'd kick the bucket on the night of the accident, but nope, she was still kicking, and so were all her partners in crime in an evil culinary experiment. Mel extracts Cole's blood like a twisted sommelier, while B works for dark magic to bring the other cult members back to life. They whip up a wicked cocktail of Cole's innocent blood, and with a dash of boom boom, there's a sacrificial garnish. The time has finally come for this sinister squad to cash in on another demonic group, steal and achieve everything they've always dreamed of. They toast and chug down the blood, but before B can ever sit from the chalice, the sun peeks out and the other cult members start to hurl breakfast of champions. B puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that Cole's blood has lost its innocence thanks to a steamy encounter with the fam queens. Another one bites the dust, rocks the soundtrack as the villains begin to collapse like a row of cursed dominoes, the cult members disband, and Mel goes out with a bang. Literally, in a plot twist, B was the one who shoved that bunny into Phoebe's locker. She also baited Mel with the promise of 1 billion social media followers, which, let's be honest, is way better than a blue check mark, especially these days thanks Elon Musk's for bees dealing with the devil. The film reveals she made a pact with a demonic nurse to ensure Phoebe would survive the car accident, but don't worry, Bee's not getting a happily ever after. She chugs calls for not-so-innocent blood and bids him adieu before turning into a puff of smoke. Her skin melts away, her book drops, and in the blink of an eye, bees are nothing more than a pile of ashes pills. Dad shows up at the beach just in time to witness the supernatural shenanigans and finally believes his son after a romantic smooch and a conveniently timed lightning strike. We see a few epilogue scenes where we learn that Cole's problems were all solved by clapping. That's funny, because all my problems started with it. The moral of the story is Amanda Cerny. Remember to subscribe for more daily videos like this. See you in the next video.
واصلوا إكمال السباق ضيفي واسع الآفاق عن غل ونفاق